I will die on this hill in 2026. If you don't have a healthy sex life, your marriage is dead on arrival. Yeah. And it has to become something that you work on, and it takes intention. And the one thing I'll tell all men is emotional connection precedes physical intimacy. Mm-hmm. If you want her to open up, in many ways,
don't say that.
Welcome back to the Late Night Date Night podcast. And on this episode, we talk about 6 things that we implemented into our marriage in 2025 that changed everything. They're simple, they're easy, and if you adopt these things, I guarantee you the relationship that you have between your husband and your wife, or whatever combination of those two exists for you, it'll pivot everything. So we hope you enjoy this episode. There's this quote that says, we often underestimate how much we can do in a year and overestimate how much we can do in a month. And I think a lot of times we don't really understand how a small habit done consistently over time can impact our lives, specifically our relationships. You know, coming out of 2024, which was a challenging year, into 2025, I felt like you and I were on this mission to really prove to ourselves that our relationship was going to be different than it's ever been. Mm-hmm. And there's like 6 habits, I believe, that we really started to make a priority in 2025 that reshaped everything. Mm-hmm. To go from completely disconnected, having a conversation about divorce and cheating and not knowing where we're gonna go, to having this beautiful relationship and this beautiful home. It wasn't over these big, magnificent vacations or epic date nights or massive gifts. It was legitimately the consistency of things done small every single week, every single month, sometimes every single day that shaped what we have now. Mm-hmm. Yep. And I believe one of the biggest things, I say with the number one thing in 2025 that allowed us to truly build a marriage that not only am I proud about, but I'm like really excited to come home to, is date nights.
Yeah, I think setting the target for ourselves where we were gonna do a date night every other week just helped us get in this rhythm of like prioritizing each other. And for me, I know I was really apprehensive about leaving the boys with the sitter, just because, you know, Enzo wasn't even a year yet. And so I just had like some anxiety or nervousness about leaving him. But once we got into that rhythm of like prioritizing each other and like getting out of the house, and I could get dressed up again and like feel like someone else other than just like a mom, it helped me feel like a real person, and also like I mattered what I wanted to do outside of just like being a mom or just the confines of, you know, this home. And just like having time with you to like have, you know, deeper conversations about like what's on our heart versus like logistics, or can you take out the trash, or like small day-to-day things, I feel like just helped us grow our connection over time.
I think it was one of those moments where I recognized that you were starting to say this one phrase consistently, and it was just, I'm just a mom. Mm-hmm. I'm like, you're not just a mom though. You're my wife, you're a woman, you're so many other things than being just a mom. And I started to recognize that, you know, a lot of times couples, when they have kids, they start to blame the kids or responsibilities or work or busyness for why they don't have dates. Mm-hmm. But that's all bullshit anyway. Mm-hmm. Like the reason that worked is because we came together and we agreed that our relationship comes before the kids. Mm-hmm. Like if we're healthy and we're thriving, the conditions in our home are going to be so much better for Luca and Enzo to feel loved and to feel seen and to feel, you know, just to thrive in our home, because our home is built in love.
Yes.
And date nights for me, they were great. I mean, there's two specific things, right? Number one, it was when I had the opportunity to plan a date night. Mm-hmm. And for me, I loved it. Like there was this one date night that we went on that I was sitting down and I was like, well, what would I want to do if I was trying to win Lizzie over for the very first time? And so I came up with this idea. I was like, okay, cool, we're gonna do like this adventure. But I was gonna plan all of these things that I knew that you would enjoy, but secretly, I also knew that I was gonna like, right? So even if the date completely went off the rails, I was still gonna be having a good time. Mm-hmm. And so I knew you wanted to go to New Terrain Brewery. Mm-hmm. And so we went over there and we had a beer. And then from there, we drove up into the mountains and I bought a bottle of orange wine and we did this hike. And we sat up on this overlook and watched the sunset over I-70 and had some orange wine. And then on the way back, right, we were supposed to go to this new taco place, but the babysitter called us and she's like, hey, I gotta leave. And so we ended up getting Chick-fil-A and Five Guys. And we came back and we ate it. And you told me that was one of the best date nights you've had. And it was really just a little bit of just, hey, I wanna be creative. I don't wanna just go to, you know, Chili's and scroll on our phone while we're just sitting there. No, like I want it to be more of an opportunity for us to have fun.
Yeah.
And that was one big one for me because it's so fun to like watch you not know and me be excited about it because I put effort into it. And then the second one was just like when you planned a date night. And I think a lot of guys want that, man. They want their wives to be like, they want to feel loved too. Like, you know what? I want to feel loved too. I want to feel pursued. I want to feel like you are in charge and planning the date night sometime. I want to be excited. And when you did that, I was like, you know what? We could have done anything. It was just the fact that you planned the date night that made me feel so just like, I was like, man, I feel loved. And if you make a man feel appreciated and respected, dude, he'll give you the world. He will give you the world.
Well, and it was fun to like be more intentional with our date nights versus like, I don't know, we're just gonna go out to our favorite taco place for like the 10th time, you know? Like, which was fun for a time in our life. But
until you eat the cheese and your tummy hurts.
yeah. But I think like planning, you know, the date nights where we could go do something and then like go out to eat, it just like helped us connect at like a different level. And one thing that I noticed for myself was that when, you know, we would just have like a busy couple weeks, and so maybe we had to go like 2 weeks in between our 2 date nights, we would start to just like nitpick each other a little bit. And I'd always like turn back to myself and be like, okay, well, why is this happening? And I was like, well, it's because we haven't had any sort of like intentional time together, you know, outside of the house.
I mean, when your life is bottles, diapers, trash, school drop off, groceries, you're gonna nitpick a lot of shit. Not because the other person's doing anything wrong, it's because you're bored as fuck.
Yeah.
Your life is just boring.
Right.
And so when you both prioritize that, man, I'm telling you, it's incredible.
I think the second one, which I don't think I expected this at the beginning of 2025.
I'm intrigued.
Just being able to like put God first and grow our faith together. I watched you obviously get into the Bible for 2.5 years.
Watched me?
Well,
You
what do
talked
mean?
shit for 2.5 years.
Okay, yeah, I did talk shit.
You're like, did you join a cult?
Well,
Are you drinking Kool-Aid? I was like, no, I mean, I'm just drinking this, whatever's out of this Bible.
Yeah. Well, I felt left behind, you know?
Yeah.
You had like this whole other life that I did not experience for half of a year, you know, in California. And I was just here. Yeah, I felt very left behind. But anyways, so putting God first, just like having a spiritual practice of my own, getting up early to read a devotional, the Bible, but then going to church together and actually having a conversation afterwards of like, okay, like what did you hear? Like what's on your heart afterwards? Yeah. I don't know, the Bible and God just have like this way of revealing to you what may be stuck. And that was my experience last year of like letting go of all of these old habits or old identities that no longer served me, and just understanding how they've impacted me in my life, but then us in our marriage. And so being able to do that together, but then just have this heart of like acceptance, love, and like peace for each other and understanding, versus I feel like in the past it was more of like combative sort of attacking energy. And I just feel like it completely shifted our dynamic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think church was on my bingo card for 2025 after I talked so much shit about it. But there was this moment where, you know, after being in the Bible for 2.5 years, I'm actually gonna grab it. After being in this thing for 2.5 years, there was just this thing on my heart where I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go try this thing. And I knew it wasn't me speaking because I would never convince myself to go to a place I didn't want to go to. But it's funny, like this book like reads you, you know? And I think for a lot of people, this book can be triggering. I mean, it triggered me for a very long time. But the thing that kind of opened up my eyes in this book, right, was just like, every time I would open it, it was almost like I was like getting insight into my own soul about things I needed to work on. I think one of the most recent ones came out of this book called Ephesians, which, by the way, I had to plug into Google to figure out how to pronounce it because I had no idea how to say it.
Yeah, I
right?
like Ephesians.
Yeah, so anyway.
Ephesians 6.
But it was talked about just like husbands love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her so that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by washing of water with the word. And I started to like read this, and I did a little bit of research on it, and it talked about how, you know, the church was kind of a fucked up place back in the day. And, you know, Jesus didn't wait for it to be like all in order or aligned or perfect to lead it. He led it before it was ready. And to me, it was very eye-opening that it's for me to lead you before you're ready. Like, I don't need you to be perfect for me to lead you. I just lead myself, and in leading myself and in loving myself, it's a way for me to love on you and to lead you. And I think it goes on to say, like, and I know feminists are gonna fucking hate this, but right, wives, subject yourself to your own husbands, for the husband is the head of the wife. And that thing opened up my mind to think of, like, if women are supposed to follow men, their husbands, a man has to be worth following. And so as I sat in the Bible and in church, and I just felt my soul being this purification going on, I was like, am I a man worth following? And on a lot of levels, I thought I was, but there's one thing that's been come up for me recently, and it was just like, you know what? I'm not worth following when it comes to my ability to emotionally regulate myself. Like, there's just so much anger and so much resentment, and that would come into the home, and then I'd wonder why you had so much anger and resentment. I'm like, bro, you're the one who set the standard for the house. Like, you're the leader. And so this book of just me having this relationship with God and him being put at the center of our relationship has really transformed me to be like, you know what? You have to become the leader of the home, but that thing is earned and it's not given. And so for me, it just was like this reframe and this perspective of like, you know what? If I put God first, and it's one of these things where it's like, you know, the fruits of the Holy Spirit, which I'm going to butcher, but I'll get a few of them. It's like peace, love, joy, self-control, gentleness, faithfulness, and I'm sure there's a few others in there. Like, if you model that as a man, you're going to be a pretty good leader. And I think a lot of times women are like, you know, men's just barking orders. I don't need a man to lead me. It's like, yeah, I get it. If you're saying that you've never actually been with a man who's a leader.
Yes.
And I think this book and my relationship with God, my conversation with God every morning, being in the church and being around friends, has really taught me a lot about just like how I want to show up as the husband in our relationship and as the father to our boys and as a friend to people. And I think that never would have crossed my mind in the way that it has and transformed who I am if it wasn't us putting our faith first. Me reading the Bible and taking shit for 2 years and then still getting up at 4:30 and reading it and putting it first. I think that was I did not see that coming.
I didn't either. Yeah, and I think it's just brought this different type of like energy into our home and different dynamic with us, which I'm very grateful to be in this place.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's peace and love, it's a pretty beautiful thing. You know, I think another one of the things that habit for me in 2025 was just couch time. Just our ability to sit on the couch here, even this, and just have a uninterrupted, intentional conversation about like life.
Yeah.
About where we were, the things that were bothering us in the relationship, the things that we appreciated with one another in the relationship, you know, connecting back to our goals and what we wanted, you know, sitting here, just making time for one another to be curious and listen. Like, that gave me a lot of perspective on just like where you were.
I think having that time after the kids had gone to bed to just sit on the couch with you, no devices, and just have like an honest conversation about like what was going on for us during the day or what was coming up. What are we thinking about? What are we feeling? And having that space to just like share authentically without being judged or like criticized, I think just helped bring us back together. And even if the conversation was, you know, something that I was already feeling like overwhelmed about or anticipating maybe for like the weekend or the next day, I feel like we could have an honest conversation about why that was happening and understand, you know, that maybe we can't like pack our weekend full of things if we want to start, you know, the following day or the next week feeling, you know, less overwhelmed for myself. And so I feel like it was more of like a conversation about like what's going to work for us and like who do we have to be individually and as a couple in order to, what am I trying to say? You know, like
how to move our relationship forward.
Exactly.
And I think it's the rule that we set, it's like 20 minutes on the couch, no phones, no Netflix. And I'll tell you, we used to try to force these conversations while the kids were screaming at the dinner table, or we're trying to put the kids to bed, or it's us passing in the hall, and inevitably one person isn't heard or something is misunderstood, and it actually creates more problems. But when you create this container of 20 minutes on the couch and it's uninterrupted, not only do you understand that that's protected time, but it's also in that place that you have the opportunity to share. And I think a lot of fights can be avoided in a relationship simply by you talking about what you've been holding in before it blows up, so that your partner knows and you become aware of it and you can talk through it. And being on the couch it's a place where we can just, hey, let's talk, let's have a conversation. Let's get this out. Let's be truthful. Let's be honest. There's no need to hide any of it. There's no need to pretend like there's not something going on. And it really led to what I feel like was a lot less fights. And us being able to forgive faster. And I think that was a key component of couch time, is forgiving faster.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I think in the past we would try to have the conversation as like, maybe you were passing by to like go to a meeting, and then I was trying to like make lunch or something with the baby in my hand, and just trying to like think straight, and we would just end up getting like butting heads because I couldn't think straight. You were in a rush, and so the conversation was like very forced instead of like letting both of our nervous systems calm down, and so that we could have like a level-headed conversation on the couch without it blowing up.
Yeah.
For like no reason.
For no reason. The only, one of the dumbest things I think that we've ever done in our relationship is trying to have hard conversations right after bedtime. Right after we put the kids down and the boys have been screaming because maybe they had a long day or they're tired, and then we try to have a serious conversation when our nervous system is just in like reactionary mode. It's dumb. What I think has been really helpful is like we go our separate ways after bedtime, we shower, we get ready for bed, and then we come and sit down. And I think that has allowed us to really go deeper into these conversations. And it has saved so many fights and got us on the page with so many things. I agree. That was a big one in 2025.
The next one was just like setting expectations for what we wanted our weekend to look like. So instead of having the weekend planning fall on just one person, it was more of like a conversation of like, what do we want to do? What do we need? Like, do we need to have a weekend where we're just like hunkered down in the house to get things done? Or can we, go to the mountains and go get a hike in and, just get in nature and help our bodies and minds sort of reset that way. And I think just like having that conversation about what we both wanted and what we both needed, and just having an understanding for each other, I feel like helped set us up for success. And also like when I look back on the summer, especially because we were so like active and just like outside, it was so fun. I had so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it did two things. One, it made sure that we had a plan and it was clear. We were gonna go out and do something, and we had agreed on it, and so we could work as a team to get ready, get out of the house, go do the thing. We knew what was gonna happen. And on the second part of this, it made sure that neither person was betraying themselves. If you needed a down weekend, and I kept trying to force things, being like, oh, we should go camping, or go outside and go on a hike, and then go to the pool, and then go get ice cream, and then go have dinner with my parents. And you're like, I just need to like relax for a day. But inevitably, I know that I can be very strong-willed and very convincing. That you just be like, screw it, I'll go do what you want to do. But that would just lead to more fights. Conversely, if you were like, hey, let's not do anything this weekend, nothing was planned, but I wanted to go do something, I would get antsy. And then when I get antsy, then I would get aggravated. If I get aggravated, then all of a sudden we're in a fight for no reason. And so just setting expectations, what do you need? What is your expectations for this weekend? And getting on the same page, no different than couch time. It just allowed us to come together as a team.
And it also just required me being honest with myself, and then willing to communicate that and honor what I needed, instead of just like you said, betraying myself and being like, here's me just going with the flow, to be like, well, I want to like go out for a hike, but I know that if I do, I'm just going to be overwhelmed because I didn't get like the rest that I needed, or this thing that I really needed to get done that I just can't during the week.
Self-betrayal leads to resentment leads to fights, and fights lead to disconnection. All because if you're not willing to have the conversation about what you need and get on the same page, and you do things that are betraying yourself, you take out your anger on the other person because you wouldn't speak up for yourself. So you're not even angry at them, you're angry at yourself because you put your own needs behind theirs. That's been one of the most powerful things that we've done. I would say the fifth one that really came to mind is just like, this was really yours, something that I was like, hey, you can't keep doing this anymore. And it's, boys, I don't know if you know this, when your wife says, it's fine, it's not fucking fine. And I just told you, I was like, listen, stop saying it's fine when your energy, your eyes, your RBF is all telling me a different story.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair. I had to almost like retrain my body and my mind that it was like safe to say how I actually felt. And also it took me some time to just like reconnect with myself to understand how I was even feeling. I mean, it might sound ridiculous that like I didn't even know my wants or needs, but I think I was just so disconnected and stuck in like this survival pattern of being on my own and not making time for myself at all, that I just was going through the motions. And so just being able to like reconnect with myself, honor like how I was feeling, and then being able to communicate them with you, it just changed everything, where I felt like it was safe to communicate how I actually felt, and then you would actually understand and meet me in that place. Over time, it just built this trust that within myself and with you, that it's okay if things aren't fine. And then there's also just going to be times where maybe the conversation that we need to have isn't the right time and place.
Yes.
And then having that understanding for each other to be like, there is something on my mind or on my heart, but I don't really want to talk about it right now. Can we talk about it tonight at couch time? And so like having that understanding, that was kind of like a hard stop for each other, that we weren't going to try and like press and poke to be like, tell me now.
I wish I could say I was perfect at that, but there's times where I did press and poke because I was like, no, I let my own ego and pride get in the way and I pushed it. And I think one of the things that you said that I want all the guys out there here is the first 4 things that we talked about in date nights and couch time and setting expectations and putting God first were the setup for you feeling comfortable, safe, and secure enough to say that it's not fine and this is why. Mm-hmm. Without that, it's just you continue to suppress and push it down until eventually you can't hold it in anymore, and then there's this explosive fight.
Yeah.
And so I want to encourage anybody, like if you're constantly having explosive fights, it means at some point your wife or you maybe don't feel safe enough to say what you're feeling, and it's because you feel disconnected. And if you do any of the first 4, this one will open up. And I think in doing those first 4 and this one, right, there's so much trust and connection built that number 6 for us was a big one. Mm-hmm. And that was prioritizing our sex life. You know, this used to be one of those things where like, I felt like we had to get drunk to have sex. Yeah. It just was. Like we'd go out on date nights. I was like, well, at least I know I'm going to get laid every other week. That'll be sweet because we're going to go out and have a few margaritas and tequila. Well, as they say, it makes her clothes fall off. At least that's what that country song said, that really shitty country song. But it was like that. And then it became one of those things where it was like, you know what? I don't want to do it that way. I want to prioritize this as like to be more than that, right? And what I had found is like we would prioritize it. Sometimes couch time became couch time for the kids, where they would watch Daniel the Tiger, and then we would go upstairs and we would on a Sunday and be able to prioritize sex and have it because that's the only time we could get it in. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't perfect, but it was what we could do with what we had. Yeah,
and I think at first it felt very awkward to be almost like scheduling sex, but over time, you know, once we kind of like got into a habit or got into routine, it just became normal and like part of our routine where like we didn't have to schedule it anymore. It just kind of like happened naturally.
You know when you go to the gym and like you're there for a few weeks and you've also like dialed in your diet a little bit, and then one morning you get out of the shower and you look in the mirror and you're like, what? Like you see, you know what I'm talking about? You're like, you're seeing results.
You feel good.
That's what it felt like. It was almost like the more we prioritized it and scheduled it, the more you wanted it. And the more you wanted it and the more you did it, the better it got. And the better it got, the more connected you felt. And then it was just like this thing where I was like, sex actually got worse with alcohol.
Yeah.
Right? Like it just wasn't as good. And it was one of those things where I was just like, it made you want it more. And then you would initiate, which makes any guy feel good to be pursued, right? It wasn't always me just initiating. And also, you know what else it opened up to? Is the ability for, if the person didn't want to have it that night, to say no. And the other person not like, why, like just pout about it. Like if you initiate it, I was like, I'm just not feeling it. In the past, I'm sure that made you feel like shit.
Yeah, for sure. You'd go into like the tailspin of like, well, what's wrong with me? Or like just silly thoughts that aren't
normal thoughts.
Yeah.
But now, like if I turn you down, or if you turn me down, it's very different.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, I get it.
Yeah.
You had a rough day? Yeah? Or the kids were throwing stuff at you? Gotcha. Oh, they pooped on the floor? Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, you had a rough day at work? Got it, you're tired. And it's not one of these things, and I think prioritizing sex is such an important piece because I will die on this hill in 2026. If you don't have a healthy sex life, your marriage is dead on arrival.
Yeah.
And it has to become something that you work on, and it takes intention. And the one thing I'll tell all men is emotional connection precedes physical intimacy. If you want her to open up, in many ways,
Sergio.
that's not what I meant. Hold on. If you want,
Don't say that.
I did, well,
We're not saying that.
we are saying that, but what
No, that feels inappropriate for you to say. We cannot say that on the podcast.
hold on, this is what I meant to say. If you want her to open up to you, not like open up, but to open up to you, you have to make her feel emotionally safe and connected. And that starts with the date nights and the couch time and setting expectations and all of the things that we talked about.
Yes.
That's the opening up. And we're gonna leave all of that in because I'm gonna let people's minds go wherever they wanna go.
Oh my God.
You're the one who took it. Your mind was going there.
Nuh-uh.
You know what? My mind is pure. I did not even think about it that way.
Oh my gosh.
I guess it has been a little bit of time. Anything else you want to add to
What are you
this?
even talking about?
You're the one who took this like we were going down the track and you were like,
I was
sure.
cut it off.
You're gonna cut it off, huh? Okay. I see what you're saying. Anything else you want to add to this conversation? Or are you getting real sweaty and uncomfortable right now?
I'm done.
You're wearing gray. Let us see your armpits. Are you sweating?
No.
Listen, these 6 habits like transformed our marriage. And there's one thing to know about them. There's another thing to implement them. And so if you're going down this path and you're not sure like what to do, reach out to either one of us, right? She's at Lizzi Ray on Instagram. I'm at Sergio Nazzaro on Instagram. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode, right? If you liked it, give us a 5-star rating. Tell us why, right? If you think it's just dog shit, give us a 1-star rating. We're okay either way. But thank you for listening. Thank you for joining. And until next time, take care. Peace.